What's going on, guys? Duggernaut here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the first set of new primals in the Stormblood expansion, starting with the Pools of Tribute Extreme, or better known as Susano Extreme. The fight is suggested for a minimum item level of 300. However, it is note that people can go in with item level 290. You're just going to want to be careful as the fight can start to hurt. The fight has two main phases with repeating mechanics, and the boss will enrage if not defeated within 11 minutes. We will discuss all the mechanics throughout the fight, and as always, we will be taking a look through the point of view of the tank. The skills he used in the first phase go as followed. Churn. He will target random party members with Churn. All party members who get this debuff will have a 10-second cooldown and a little die that appears above their head. Once this countdown reaches 0, any party members with Churn that are either moving or attacking will take major damage. The best way to avoid this is at about the last 3 seconds, you're just going to want to turn away from the boss and just not do anything and wait for the debuff to fall off. Rising Kaiko, which is a ground AoE very similar to Titan's Way to the Land, he will target random party members and they will have to run out of the AoE to avoid any damage. Yato no Kagami and Sea Splitter. Yato no Kagami is an orange icon that will appear above the target's head, which he will then do a knockback, which will then trigger Sea Splitter, which is a large AoE. There's a small little safe zone in between Susanoo and the targeted that got hit with Yato no Kagami. And Bright Storm, which is a stacking mechanic typically followed after Yato no Kagami. We tank him in the middle of the platform for the majority of the fight. Unlike some strats that tell you to do it in the north, we found it easiest to do it in the middle because when he spawns the purple thunder clouds and has the line AoE with Yato no Kagami, we just found it was easier to avoid unnecessary damage. So he starts off the fight by casting Churn on random party members and a semi-tank buster that is not castable, but you could tell by his telegraph of a wide swing. He'll then follow up with Yato no Kagami, followed by Bright Storm. He will then do another round of churning, and this time he will also be adding Rising Kaiko. So for this, just make sure to run out of the pools and then wait for your churning to end. Like I stated before, it's easiest if you just either hit escape or turn your camera angle and wait for the debuff and then start attacking again. So if you notice, I'm moving my camera angle around a lot because I'm looking for those dark clouds that spawn. The reason behind this is because with that spawn, when he uses Yato no Kagami, he's then also going to trigger Thunderhead, which is a huge line damage. You want to make sure you bait those away. If not, it can actually cause a wipe very fast because it'll just target the safe zone. At about 80%, he will go into his ultimate phase and use Ame no Murakumo. This will be the first part of a tank swap mechanic with an active time maneuver. The first tank will have to tank the sword, while the soft tank will actually have to go and get orbs. There'll be 2 on the right side and 2 on the left side. You're going to want to start clockwise. It's best to use a defensive cooldown and sprint. Get the first 2, and then go over to the second 2. If any of the orbs hits the party, it will do massive damage. Once the party DPSs down the first sword, the tanks will then have to swap because the main tank will now have a physical vulnerability stack. Just like before, the main tank will now be taking the orbs while the off tank takes the sword. Same pattern, make sure to go clockwise, grabbing the first 2 orbs, then making a beeline for the second 2 orbs. Once the second sword has been DPS down, he will then use his ultimate move, which you'll then want to make sure you're topped off, grouped up, and ready for the second phase. The second phase will be adding 3 new mechanics: Storm Splitter, which is a tank buster with a tank swap, Uteki, which is raid-wide damage, and Hidden Gate, which will trap someone that you must DPS down or they will die. The arena is now separated into 2 forms, with a middle void. Standing in the void will cause a debuff called Sinking. If you're sinking for too long, your character will die. He starts off the fight by casting Storm Splitter, which is a tank buster / swap mechanic. We found it easiest for the Paladin to just hollow ground the first one so everyone can keep DPSing. He will also then target 4 random party members with Levin Bolt. Levin Bolt targets a random party member who must run to the other side to avoid raid-wide damage. After the Levin bolts, he will then cast Uteki, which is raid-wide damage. He will then start to follow it up with Yato no Kagame, Sea Splitter, and the Parting Clouds, along with Bright Storm. So I know it all sounds like a lot, but it's all within a pattern, so it's all very manageable, and really he's just combining, Yato no Kagame and Sea Splitter, and then the Parting Clouds is just a mechanic that gets added on. The clouds will spawn in the directions, north, south, east, west, or, northeast, northwest, stuff like that. And the reason behind that is you need to make sure you're baiting the clouds away, so that way with the Parting Clouds, there's no unnecessary damage. After which time he will then cast another Storm Splitter, and this time the tanks will have to swap, followed by another set of Levin bolts. So again, he'll target 4 random party members, and then another Parting Clouds. This one's a little bit easier though, because you won't have to stack for Sea Splitter. After which time he will cast another round of Utekis, and then he will then follow it up with a new mechanic, Hidden Gate. Hidden Gate is a new move that he'll be using. He'll be targeting 1 random party member, excluding the tanks, and putting them in a rock tomb. You need to make sure to DPS down the tomb before the timer to avoid instant KO. He's also going to be casting Rising Kaiko in between as well. And then to trip up the party members, he's going to actually summon a few more tombs and then rotate them around. So the best mechanic to do is just make sure to target the one that the person is trapped in to DPS it down, so that way no one gets confused. So after his wave of Uteki and after Hidden Gate, he is going to use Storm Splitter again, so tank swap mechanic, followed up by Levin bolts. This time though, it's going to be a little bit different. Instead of the person that gets targeted by Levin bolt run over to the other side, that person will then get stunned and locked in place. So the entire party is going to need to run over. After this round of Levin bolts, he will then follow up by using Uteki. He'll then use Churn, along with Yato no Kagame and Sea Splitter, and then follow it up into a Bright Storm. There is no Thunderhead this time, so if someone gets targeted with Churn and then gets knocked back with Yato no Kagame, do note that you do have enough time to get back in place with the group up mechanic, and you don't have to rush the Churn and take any unnecessary damage. He's then going to follow it up with a Rising Kaiko. After Rising Kaiko, he's then going to follow up with another Storm Splitter. After the Storm Splitter, he's then going to use another wave of Levin bolts, and it's the same mechanic as last. He's going to stun the person that gets targeted, so the entire party is going to need to move to the other side, and then back again. It does it 4 times. He'll then do another wave of Uteki, and then this time around he's going to use Rising Kaiko, Churn, followed by another Rising Kaiko. So what you're going to want to do is avoid the Rising Kaiko, wait for Churn to fall off, and then move again out of the other Rising Kaiko that appears beneath you. At this point, you're going to be reaching about the home stretch depending on your DPS and getting pretty close to the Enrage timer. He's then going to follow it up by his last set of moves, which is Levin bolts. And this form of Levin bolts is the party member that gets targeted will move. They're no longer stunned. He's then going to do another Yato no Kagame followed up with Sea Splitter. This time though, there will be a Parting Cloud, so you're going to want to make sure you find where the cloud is and make sure to bait it away from the Bright Storm. He'll then do another round of Utekis, and again he's then going to target someone with Hidden Gate. So after Hidden Gate, he's then going to go into a final set of Levin bolts, which you can move out of, followed up by Yato no Kagame and Sea Splitter. He's then also going to do Rising Kaiko, then another Yato no Kagame with Sea Splitter, and this time a Parting Cloud into a Bright Storm. He'll then do Rising Kaiko, another round of Uteki, Hidden Gate, and then one final Rising Kaiko. If you are unable to defeat him at that point, he's then going to do Uteki and wipe the party. And then as you can see throughout the fight, a handful of us did periodically get KO'd from various reasons. You know, if you're not in the C splitter properly, you will take damage, and you'll notice that even though it, you know, it's you look like you're in it, you still get hit. So we got KO'd. I had a couple of misclicks where I failed to use some defensive cooldown, so I got KO'd at the end. But I chose to use this video to show that it is manageable to recover. And, you know, depending on what your tactic is, everyone does it a little bit differently. You know, we chose to fight him in the middle versus directly north or south. We decided to hollow ground in the beginning. You know, if you don't have a paladin, it's you know, you don't have to have a paladin to beat the fight. You know, whatever your team comp is, you know, make it yours. Own it. The fight is doable with almost any setup. But I wanted to show this video to let you guys know that, you know, it is doable even with mistakes. You know, and we made a lot of them, but it's still a really fun fight. I hope you guys have the opportunity to try it out for yourselves. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This was Susano Extreme. If you guys enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and like. Let me know in the comment section below if there's any videos you'd like to see. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all up-to-date content. And as always, goodbye from Zalara.